It's time for the Douglas Coleman Show. Smooth and Savvy is joined by Light and Fluffy for an hour of talk, music, and fun, along with our own Periscope girl. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Smooth and Savvy himself, Douglas Coleman.
Hey, ho, ho, ho. How you doing? Welcome to the Douglas Coleman Show. It's me, Douglas Coleman, and happy Halloween, or it's getting there. It'll be Halloween at the end of the week, and I'm all excited. I got my pumpkin out, and I actually have some sunflowers that have been growing, and one of them is huge. One of them has to be 8 feet tall. The flower is enormous, and I don't know why, but sunflowers always creep me out. They're not a very pretty flower, but they just look creepy, like they should be in a horror film or something. They're not like roses or tulips that sort of give off this, oh, lovely kind of vibe. Sunflowers kind of look at you like, rah. You know, they kind of growl at you. At least they do to me. It's putting me in the spirit of scary and creepy, having all these sunflowers around the yard. Speaking of scary and creepy, let me get my co-host out here. She is the president and founder of Lady Lake Entertainment. She's always scary, creepy, but she's also light and fluffy. Ms. Cindy Diadamo. Hello, Cindy.
Hi, Douglas. I brought you some sunflowers.
Oh, thank you very much. Have you ever grown sunflowers?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so now when they only go one time, right? They're not perennial. Right. Once they die, then what do? You take the flower and bury it and they'll grow again or something?
Well, actually, the brown center is where all of the seeds are.
Okay.
Okay, so if you leave it on the stalk, whatever your natural birds are will use that as food all winter long. Well, whatever season it is there when yours die. But back in Pennsylvania, I had all kinds of flowers and plants. I'm really quite a gardener, and so I would leave them on, and then the birds could feed off of them during the winter time.
Okay. Well, we don't have winter here particularly, but I think I'll just let them go and see what happens. We got a bag of the seeds, and we just kind of threw them around the front of the house, in front of the wall. And they started coming up, and they're coming up all over the place. And one of them, like I said, is like 8 feet tall now. And it didn't seem like it took very long. Yeah.
They are creepy, though. They're not pretty, and they're just scary.
They're a scary flower. I really think so. Yeah, when I look at them, all I think about is horror movies and Friday the 13th and something. They're just children of the corn. They're not flowers that produce a kind of a warm and fuzzy emotion like roses or tulips or, they just don't. I don't know why. And it's a bit odd. But anyway, speaking of scary and creepy, we had the episode number 4 of The Burbs last Thursday. Yeah. Now, did you think that was exponentially more creepy than episode 3? Because I did.
I did too. And I love the way it's going. It's getting more and more scary.
Yes. Well, 5 is coming up, and 5 gets even more scary, and then number 6 is going to be the season finale, and then there's going to be a short break. Carmen Online Theater Group will be doing a production of another show, not The Burbs, and then we're going to go back to The Burbs 2 weeks after that. Actually, 3, because Thanksgiving will be there, so we're just not going to have anything on Thanksgiving Day. Nobody's going to tune in on Thanksgiving Day anyways. So give everybody a break, and then we're going to go back to it, I think, after Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. I think that's the basic idea.
Give everyone time to catch up. If they've missed the beginning of the show, they can go over and catch up on everything that they've missed and listen to them all. And I've listened to them over and over. I just think it's so interesting, so well done. And I'm a fan of anything spooky and creepy anyway.
Well, the thing about that show is it moves so fast. You really have to listen to it a couple of times. You'll miss stuff because it's only 10 minutes and it goes real quick. So, yeah, during that break, it'll give people a chance to go back and listen to them again. 6 episodes, it'll take you an hour to get through the whole thing, the whole season. Then you're all caught up and ready for season 2. Ooh, yeah. Wow. Ah. Well, there's the famous trumpets, and as you know, on the Douglas Coleman Show, when we have the trumpets, it means we have some special announcements or something different that we don't normally do. So the announcements are, the first thing is that my company DJC Productions, which we just started like a month ago, we have a new show that we're going to be producing, and it's called the Dusty Cover Show, which I think she won't mind if I say. It's actually our Periscope girl who's going to be doing the show. And she's going to be doing a show about books and about authors and also featuring some music. So the show is in the works now. It will premiere on Thursday, December 3rd at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And it'll be on Spreaker, and we will get that link out to everybody as soon as we can. But it should be a very interesting show. She does a very good sort of interview, kind of a very light-hearted type interview, but I'm excited about it. I'm happy to be producing it, and I think it's going to be a good show. Please, everybody, tune in for that. Also, on November 17th on my show, Michael Ricucci, who we had on back in June, he is coming back onto the program after his adventures. He was on in June, and he was just getting ready to embark on his world tour to start filming for his project of music therapy documentary film. So now, 4 months later, he has come back from a couple of places. I won't say where because we'll let you be surprised on the 17th. But he's been out of the country, and he went to several exotic places, and he's got some great stories to tell. So I'm really excited that Michael is back and he's in one piece, that he had time to talk with me. So he will be on the 17th. And while we're on the trumpets, I've got a new band that I found. Music X-Ray, which is somebody that I am affiliated with and the show is affiliated with. I found this band on Music X-Ray and absolutely fell in love with this song. So I got in contact with the guy. He's going to be on November 3rd. He will be on. That's a week from this Tuesday. His name is Matt Roden, and he is the lead guitarist and the songwriter for a band called Acme Giants, which I absolutely love that name. I think that is a great name for a band. And this song, every once in a while, I hear a song that just hits the sweet spot for me. And it's just like, oh, that is such a great song. Because as a musician, I look at songs probably differently than non-musicians do. I kind of look at like how the song is structured, what kind of chord changes they used, how it's put together. And my sort of definition of a great song is a song that sounds simple, but it's not. So it's kind of has something for everybody. If it sounds simple enough, then most people can get it and they can hum along to it and it clicks into their head. But if it's too simple, then musicians will get bored with it because they're like, oh, I could do that, you know. So this song has got both elements. It's complicated enough, yet it's simple enough. The Beatles were real masters at making songs like that. They made a whole bunch of them. I have mentioned Running in Circles by Villa Avenue, which is another one that fits into that category of sounding simple, but it really isn't. The way Chris Schindler plays his guitar is amazing. He has all these strange ways that he plays chords that nobody else plays like that. So it gives the song a different dynamic. Anyways, this song by Acme Giants is called Carrie Ann. And it's just a great song, so I'm going to play it right now. Carrie Ann by Acme Giants.
Your forget the things I did. Oh, but Carrie, I hope you come by when you can. Yeah, I miss your smile. I haven't seen you in a while. Oh, Carrie, oh, Carrie, I miss you, Carrie. I hope you come by when you can. I missed you, Carrie.
Oh, yeah. I love
They're
that
really
song.
good.
Isn't that a great song?
Where are they from?
Well, kind of all over. Matt is from Tennessee, but he's been living in New York City for a long time. He's been in a couple of other bands, one of those kind of floating around musicians. But now he's got a new band out.
There's an indie band that, well, they're no longer together. They were called We the Living, and they went on tour and they got picked up by a small indie label, and they were just fabulous. I was a big fan of theirs and had both of their records, and they sound a lot like these guys. This band, I don't know how old they are or who they're working with, but they really have a lot of potential if they get their music out.
Well, this guy, I guess he's signed to somebody. I don't know. He's going to talk to us next week, so we'll find out a lot more about it.
Yeah,
But
cool.
the thing that I like about that song is that it's very reminiscent of a couple of bands that I really liked back in the day. It reminds me of The Fix, and it also reminds me of a band called The Outfield. Do you remember them?
No, but I know who The Fix is.
Yeah, and it's just a good song. It's just a feel-good song. You put that on and you feel great. And it's a real song. There's no samples in it. Everybody's singing and playing, and
Right.
and it's just got a nice, clean, catchy sound about it. And that's the kind of stuff I like. I really do. So anyways, speaking of music, well, I thought I would play one of my songs, since I don't think I've played this song on my show. And it doesn't get much attention. It's just kind of sitting there in the computer. So I thought I would play it. It's the one, Give Something. And you know about this song. This one was produced by Stuart Epps, and his wife, Juliet, sings some backing vocals on it, especially at the end. The last chorus, you can really hear her singing, and she is a great singer. Folk singer from Denmark. Now, wasn't she like number one in Denmark or something?
She was number one in Denmark for, oh my gosh, years. She was actually on their radio chart. A couple of her songs, I think Rays Around the Sun was on there. And she was played all over Denmark and even recognized on the street, that sort of thing. And
Wow.
then she went on to the global charts. And at one point, she was number 5 in the world in folk music, right behind Beth Orton.
Oh, wow. Okay. So very privileged to have her on this track singing. So let's have a listen to this one. This is, what's his name again? Oh, Douglas Coleman.
That's somebody.
Right. Douglas Coleman, and the song is called Give Something.
To right no one above. Then I saw it all was gone. The two-way street, the sign was wrong. Give something, it's only fair. Give something, I just don't care. Give something to me. stay. I'll say goodbye so I can give another try. Give something, it's only fair now. Give something, I just don't care now. Give something to me. Found someone I thought of. It felt so right, no one above. And then I saw it all was gone. A two-way street, the sign was wrong. Give something, it's only fair. Give something, I just don't care. Give something to me. If there is love, it must be earned. I cannot teach, it can't be learned. So think again before you fall. Then hit your head against my wall. Give something, it's only fair now. Give something, I just don't care now. Give something to me.
Yeah, I love that. I love Juliet in the end of that song.
Yeah, she does a great job. Oh, you know what? And just in perfect timing, somebody is coming up in a submarine right now to give us a report. Hello, Periscope girl. How are you?
Periscope girl reporting. Ahoy, Cindy! I took a break from my mopping of the decks and put up my periscope and took a peek. And I saw bats flying about. Arrgh. With further investigation, I discovered that if you type #Halloween, you get bats when your landlubbers and followers tap their screen while watching your periscope. So all my hearties, get them to tap away this Halloween with hearties and bats. Yarr! Grrr. Don't forget to block those fearful scurvy rats who try and disturb your periscopes with their foul ways. Only room for jolly buccaneers on my adventures, like the wonderful Lady Lake and her beautiful music periscopes gives joy to an old sea dog's life. Over and out, Captain.
Okay, thank you, Periscope girl, for that report once again. There she goes, down and down into the submarine. We'll talk to you again next week. And now, once again, it's time for Lady Lake Corner.
Hello and welcome to Lady Lake Corner for the week of October 27th through November 3rd. This week, we are excited to announce that a new single called Something Real by our top Texas artist, David Martinez, will be hitting the airwaves. This summer, after a well-received tour of Texas, David flew to LA to record a new album with producer Leroy Miller. Something Real will be the first taste of this new project, tentatively titled The Lost Road, which will be released in full in 2016. Something Real premieres 9 p.m. Eastern on Independent Share with DJ Dave Davis and is being picked up by indie radio stations across the US and UK. For more information on David, please visit www.reverbnation.com/David Martinez Music. And that concludes this week's Lady Lake Corner.
Okay, Cindy, thank you very much for that Lady Lake Corner. And we'll be right back with country singer Greg White.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Okay, with me today is a singer-songwriter who is in the country music genre, whose songwriting began as early as elementary school, writing simple poems that even won a contest or two. He would later turn the simple lyrics into a song and sing for his mom on the way to football practice. She would urge him to sing louder, telling him that one day he would have many people listening to his music. Who knew that one day her words would become a reality? Now he's committed his professional attention towards songwriting, performing, and recording his own music. Once he's honorably discharged from the U.S. Navy, music will be a full-time career for this country boy. He is attending Full Sail University to earn a degree in music production. He recently moved to San Diego from Japan. His first band ever was Those Rowdy Boys, which consisted of all U.S. Navy sailors. Please welcome Gregory White. Yay! How are you, Greg? How you doing? Doing all right?
I'm doing great this morning. Absolutely.
Super. Says here, once you're discharged from the Navy, so you're still in the Navy at this point?
I am.
Okay.
I'm stationed in San Diego, North Island.
Oh, I see. How much longer do you have?
Until May of next year.
And now when you were in Japan, you were stationed in Japan?
I was.
How was that? I've been to Japan a couple of times. It's a really interesting country. It's certainly different than America,
Absolutely.
but it's a pretty cool place.
Japan is, I'd say one of the best things about Japan is the people. The second thing I'd say is the food. The food is phenomenal, and it might be the weirdest thing you ever ate, but it's actually delicious. So I kind of got used to, not being able to recognize what I was eating, but just, knew that no matter how weird it was going to be awesome.
Well, I love Japanese food, and the one thing about it is most of it is really very good for you as well. It's probably one of the reasons why the Japanese tend to live longer than the rest of us too, because the food is just so high in protein and low fat. And the only one that I couldn't eat was the sea urchin. I just couldn't eat that. There's something about the consistency.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
So you're missing out. You're missing out. That's so delicious.
Well, all right.
We used to go to this traditional sushi restaurant, and they would serve all 100% fresh stuff. That he got it from the docks that morning.
Oh, right.
And that was the first time I tried sea urchin, and it was awesome.
Well, I've looked at it and I've smelled it, and I just couldn't get beyond that. It's something about
it can definitely creep you out.
Yeah, well, it's something about the consistency. I mean, it has the consistency of peanut butter, doesn't it? But it don't taste like peanut butter at all. I mean, it's not even close.
It's grainy peanut butter. Yeah.
Yeah, grainy, very salty, kind of fishy peanut butter. It just didn't quite work for me. But I have actually heard of Full Sail University. I think it's somebody on the Howard Stern show, as a matter of fact, who went there. I just want to hear a little bit more about it. What exactly do they do there?
Well, they do a lot of different things, not just music degree choices, but they also do video gaming, media, could be sports media, could be news media. They do a lot of film and television type stuff. And then they also obviously have a lot of music and audio degree plans and stuff like that too. I really wish I could go to the campus. I'm an online student. Obviously,
I see. Okay.
I'm remote from Orlando, Florida, being here in San Diego. But quite honestly, I think that they're just all about the entertainment industry. So far, I'm having a fantastic time being a part of that school. I'm about 6 or 7 months in.
So when you get it, is this a full 4-year degree that you would have to do?
It's an accelerated program, so I believe that the degree can be earned in 3 years. if you don't stop. But it's nonstop. There's not the traditional semesters where you get, 4.5 months of school and then get a short break and then another 4.5 months of school and then get summer off. You literally got to go year round.
Okay, enlighten me a little bit about online universities, because I've seen them popping up everywhere and they're getting more popular and they seem to be getting more kind of accepted as legitimate universities. Do you do this like with video? I mean, do you tune into a classroom and there's a professor who's lecturing or something, or is it strictly text back and forth?
Well, what happens is I basically go into a platform every single day, and then there's a list of to-dos. And I can register for courses or for lectures really that will be taught live or archived. So it could be either or. Every class that I've taken so far typically has a live online lecture with the actual professor, or maybe even two every week. So it's a live lecture every week. So there's at least one opportunity where you're actually getting access to a live professor. Now, you have access to live professors at all times, obviously through email and other various contact information and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's archived videos, full write-ups on what the assignment is, the instructions on how to complete it, and obviously contact information for the professor if you're having any issues.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, that sounds good. I mean, I like the idea. Now, can you do this like anytime you want? Like if you work during the day, you could do it at night, or
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a really good idea. I mean, online universities have been around for a while, but I remember when they first came out, people were kind of like, that it wasn't the same thing. But I think they're gaining more acceptance now. I think as the internet becomes a part of everyone's, basically their right hand at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think they're gaining more
I
acceptance.
was highly motivated with the getting the music production degree underway. And I was intimidated by the online stuff just because I didn't know how I was going to work it. To me, I was looking at, a problem that I had no knowledge of, solving when I was coming into an online degree plan, but it was easy. I mean, quite honestly, like they guided me right into it. Full Sail is a fantastic university. And they basically just brought you right in. They gave you the courses that you need, the knowledge that you need to make sure that you were making the right decision, and have a smooth transition from not being a student to being a full-time student.
Now, cost-wise, is it cheaper to go on an online university or rather than like a state university?
That is a really good question. I'm gonna guess no.
Okay, so I'm guessing then that your tuition for this Full Sail is not cheap. It's
definitely not cheap.
Okay, well then it's probably in line with what you'd have to pay for a state university if you were like. I know that they, if you're a resident of the state, it's a little bit cheaper than if you're an out of state. Blah blah blah. It's been a long time for me. I'm probably a little older than you, but. I can remember that it was much cheaper if you lived in the state and stuff. But I guess with an online thing, it doesn't matter where you are. You can just do it from wherever.
I think the same might apply, but I'm not really sure. A lot of those particular details, such as, in-state, out-of-state, or whether or not I just got this is what we do for military or whatever. I didn't really look at that. I kind of just said, sign me up. And, they said, well, this is how much it is. And I said, okay, that's great. And from there. That
brings up another question from me, is that the fact that you're active service, doesn't Uncle Sam help you with college tuition of some kind?
Absolutely. There's definitely programs available for military to take advantage of if they want to. And I don't see any reason why they wouldn't want to, because it's definitely significant help.
Oh, yeah, certainly. Well, without getting on a big political bandwagon, I mean, I really believe that any government benefits that we provide for our people should obviously go to active service people first. I mean, I've always respected the military service guys. I didn't have to go. I was like one of those weird ages where I was too young for Vietnam, and then they stopped the draft, you know.
Right,
so I just registered, but my father was there, and you know, sometimes I think that we don't do enough. Even if you didn't have to go to war, just the fact that you served is a very honorable thing to do, and a lot of people just
Absolutely.
wouldn't do it, you know.
I can definitely agree with that. It's also astounding how much there is available for active duty and veterans, and how much people don't take advantage of.
Well, yeah, I think that the government is offering a good deal for somebody who maybe doesn't have a decided direction when they turn 18 years old, or maybe they don't have family that's got enough money to put them through college, or, you know, whatever their situations are, particularly when there's no war going on, not anything huge. I mean, you didn't end up in Afghanistan anywhere, did you?
No, I didn't.
I guess being in the Navy, isn't Afghanistan a landlocked country?
It is, but the Navy does end up in the Gulf.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we end up all over the world. I mean,
yeah, we're everywhere. I know. We're just absolutely everywhere. All right, let's get to one of your songs. That's why we're here. I want to hear your music. Which one do you want to play first? Long Road or That Tree?
Long Road is definitely the first single that I ever put out, so I would definitely go with that one first.
All right. You want to tell us anything about it?
Absolutely. The premise behind the song, I was actually sitting in my barracks in 2012 when I wrote this song. I had a really tough time developing the song and learning actually how to play my own song that I had written, because I was still developing my talent on the guitar. It's a song that is all about achieving dreams. You know, everyone has a dream, everybody, at least if you're even slightly ambitious. And Long Road is kind of a song that reflects that, you know, you're going to have to work for it, but it's better to be bold and, you know, work as hard as you possibly can towards that goal. Lord willing, you'll achieve it.
Well, yeah, it's like the old saying, you know, it's better to have tried and failed than never tried at all. And I know,
and that there's definitely a line in that song inspired by that.
Yeah.
By that speech.
Okay, well, let's listen to it. This is Long Road by Gregory White.
Well, I've always had these dreams that are bigger than me, a much bigger picture than I can't even see, like Edison before electricity. Can I get there? Desire doesn't explain the emotion I feel when I work so hard spinning my wheels, and sometimes the doubt comes creeping. Can I get there? But it's a long road home, and it might be heaven it's a long road home, and I might be heaven bound before I know. But I gotta take my place amongst the bold who tried like hell down the long road, down the long road, and I won't give them now, no, even when it's Mexico slow. And like they say, dreams are a cinch if you take them by the inch. But it's a long road home, it might be heaven bound before I know. But I gotta take my place amongst the bold who tried like hell down the long road, down the long road, down the long road, down the long road, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, very nice. You got a really nice voice, Greg. Really super.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that, Doug.
Yeah, I listen to, oh God, I probably get 20 or 30 submissions a day to the radio stations, and some of the stuff that I listen to is just, oh my God. It's like now that technology enables anyone with a computer to record themselves. The sword cuts both ways on that one, let me tell you.
True.
Because you get some people that just, what do they think they're doing?
Absolutely.
But yeah, oh, beautiful song. I wanted to ask you a couple questions about it, though.
Thank you,
Actually,
Greg.
if you had
Absolutely.
put that song out like 30 or 40 years ago, it wouldn't have been a country song. It would have been a soft rock song. So country has kind of evolved into, I think a lot of the soft rock guys and the real melodic rock and roll guys have all sort of migrated over to country, the country genre. Because I'm hearing more of that stuff. I see when I get submissions and things and people say, oh, I'm a country artist. I'm expecting, I suppose, Hank Williams or something, a real twangy kind of music. And that could
Sure.
fall in this, that could fall into the same genre as like Bob Seger, some of the bands like even Bad Company, who was considered a rock band, but they did songs like that, kind of mellower rock and roll.
It's funny that you mentioned Bob Seger as your first reference, because that song is absolutely inspired by Bob Seger. He's one of my favorite classic rock artists. Growing up, my dad listened to Bob Seger nonstop, and I just couldn't get enough of it. So there's definitely a good Bob Seger influence into that song. But I've always kind of thought Bob Seger was kind of country, even though he was a classic rock artist. I thought he had a really nice country feel, and I always thought that there's a really fine line between country and rock sometimes anyway. But it's interesting because I'm definitely a country artist. I definitely want to be on the country charts, but I definitely have an affinity for rock and roll music. So I definitely have a lot of influence with some rock and roll artists in my music, for sure. It's funny you mentioned Bob Seger, because he's one of the main influences of that song.
Well, you can hear it. I grew up in those days. That was the music I was listening to as a kid. I probably listened to the same stuff your dad did. I can hear that in your music. Definitely has that element to it.
That's a great era of music, for sure.
I have to agree with you on that. One of the things I was going to say was that the fact that you're in the country genre you're going to stand a better chance of making a mark than if you were going to try to go into the rock and roll side, because I think rock bands are really having a tough time these days. Rock doesn't seem to be selling as well. Country has always held its own. Even through the 60s and 70s, when rock was dominating radio and record sales, there were always country artists like, Johnny Cash and Loretta Lynn, Dolly Parton, who made millions in country.
Oh, yeah.
So I think now, where a lot of people like you who are doing sort of melodic rock type music in the country genre, you'll do well. You'll do better than trying to put yourself out as a rock artist. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I'd say that if somebody asked me, what's my passion in music, I would have to say country music is absolutely my passion. I love rock and roll. It can definitely influence my music, but country music is definitely my passion.
Now, when you were with the band, those Rowdy Boys, did you play around at all in Japan? I mean, you play in little clubs, or did you perform anywhere? Yeah.
Yeah, we would play. We would play in. Well, I mean, honestly, wherever we were, whoever would let us play, we would play. Sometimes we would play for these kind of singer-songwriter venues that are around Tokyo, which there are actually a lot of them, and most of them are American or expat owned, and they're in Tokyo. We also traveled around to some other areas like Yokohama, Yokosuka, and played at places that were country bars, like American country western bars. We played at this one place in Yokosuka called George's Country Bar, and it looked like an old honky-tonk. Wood floors, wood walls, wood everything. Looked like a barn pretty much. Peanuts and sawdust on the floor, but just cold beer and good eats, and it's just a great feel to really cool place. Yokohama was another one, that country house, and this was owned by a Japanese man who, back in the day, he's got a big picture on his wall of him and his band that they had. It was kind of like he described it to me in broken English as they were the Japanese Beatles.
Okay.
And but he's just a cowboy. Every time I go in there, he's got boots and jeans on, and he's got a big old Texas belt buckle, and he's got a cowboy hat on his head, and him and his wife run the little bar, and they've got a nice little stage on there, and he's got his 1952 Gibson guitar that he knows how to shred on, and he'll just get up on stage and he'll start playing some background music, and he'll just shred on his Gibson, and he sings perfect English, old country music songs, John Denver, Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Charlie Pride, all kinds of different country music, and he can sing them in perfect English, but he definitely doesn't. The conversational English just isn't really there.
Well, he's memorized. He's memorized the lyrics for the song. I mean,
it's incredible. Yeah. It's incredible, but he's just a Japanese country boy. It's crazy. It's really really cool. And he's definitely one of those people I'll probably remember for the rest of my life.
One thing I did notice about Japan is they love all things Americana. Anything
Absolutely.
Like from the 50s and the 60s. I mean, they have got some places over there that I went to that were just incredible. And meanwhile, I was trying to get into the Japanese culture, and every place I was running into, it was like cowboy hats and Elvis Presley. And it just was really funny, Anyways, hey, we got to get to your other song here. Tell us about That Tree.
Okay. So That Tree is a song that I wrote. I was sitting actually at a Nashville Songwriter Association meeting. The meeting there was actually a man named Doug Johnson was talking to the group of people, of NSAI members. I remember I was paying attention to what Doug was saying, but there was this beautiful landscape out of the window behind him. I there was just, and it was a beautiful palm tree, and just the whole picture outside that window. So if I could just take, just a picture of that window, everything beyond it was just very beautiful, and especially the tree. And I kind of started looking at it in perspective, and I was like, well, what does a tree mean to me? And kind of just looking through try to look through a different lens, if you will, when it comes to songwriting. I literally just started jotting some lyrics down on this piece of paper while Doug Johnson was speaking to us. And I don't know if it was just the spirit in the room, because Doug Johnson is a phenomenal songwriter, probably one of the best songwriters ever. And he's written number ones for, big name country artists. It was really intense that everything was coming like at that point that this, phenomenal songwriter was talking to us. But I finished it later on that weekend, and then I went into the studio, and it started off as I was just going to put a demo together of this song, and then we ended up just, the producer ended up getting really excited about the song, and so we ended up just producing it, getting the musicians in, and just putting it together. So that tree is a story of life, progressing around, something that most people would just see, a plant in the yard, but there's a whole human life story that revolves around that tree.
Okay. Well, this is That Tree by Gregory White.
That tree, see a scrawny kid climbing to the top, 'cause that's just what I did, having a blast, hanging from that limb, feeling alive and free. When I look at that tree, see two people in love, branching out to the world, though it's tough, growing deep and strong, no matter what. And I just wouldn't be me if it wasn't for that tree. Most folks might just see a plant in the yard, but I see a childhood and monkey bars, and I see two kids with all love in their hearts. When I look at that tree and those years in the ground, it'll grow with our child, and I have no doubt she'll be beautiful and learn all about how I just wouldn't be me if it wasn't for that tree. Most folks might just see a plant in the yard, and I see my little girl out driving my car. When I look at that tree, see Jesus, my Lord, carrying the weight of those two crossed boards. Well, he lost that fight, but he won the war, and I just wouldn't be free if it wasn't for that tree. Most folks might just see a plant in the yard, but I see a heavenly king made of leaves and bark. When I look at that tree, when I look at that tree, when I look at that tree, when I look at that tree.
Oh, fantastic. Obviously, you're going into a studio to produce this stuff. Are you doing any multi-instrument, or
Yes, absolutely.
are you just playing? You've got other musicians?
No, I got other musicians. I have a full band, but then we also have a lot of contacts, and the producer has more contacts than I do. But we definitely have a lot of other musicians that'll come in and take part of it.
Oh, because your
But
productions
as
are
far as
super.
me, multi-musicians, I'm pretty much just an acoustic guitarist.
Okay. Well, no, your productions are tremendous. You know, they're certainly up to professional standard. I mean, anybody who has a radio station who got something like that sent to them would be like, oh, okay, well, I can play this. You'd be surprised what I get that people want me to put on the air.
Yeah. No, thank you very much.
I was also going to compliment you on your writing and arranging. You've got a very natural melodic sense to actually on both of those songs that I heard. It's a very natural. I think people are born with that. That's just my opinion. Some people disagree with me, but I've seen it in little kids who will walk around at 3 and 4 years old humming a song, and you won't know what the song is. And they'll say, oh, I don't know. It's just, it's like in my head. It's like they've got
Absolutely.
that. Yeah, they've got that sort of melodic sense. And then as they grow up, if they develop it and nurture it, it can turn into a full-blown career if they're lucky. But you've got a certain melodic sense. It just flows. It's like there's nothing struggling about the way that you put your song together. It's just kind of... Now, is that when you write, does it tend to be like that? Do you write the lyrics first and then do melody, or is it just all at once, or how does it come to you?
Quite honestly, I spend a lot of time writing. So if something strikes me, if there's a line, I don't even have to sit down and say, I'm going to write a song. It could be I'm driving down the road and I've got to pull over because I thought of a line that I thought would be really catchy in a song, that I can just jot it down and I can, put it in my arsenal for later writing. Then there's also other times where it just starts coming out and I can't stop it. Like it's all together. It's words, it's melody. I know exactly how I want it to be. And sometimes the creativity will be flowing so like it'll just be going, and I'll pump out like 3 or 4 different songs, all different melodies. I'll just be like, wow, where did that even come from? And then there's other times where I'll sit down to write, and it ends up just me playing around with my guitar. I'll mess around with different chord progressions. I'll mess around with different keys. And sometimes when I'm just doing that and just messing around with my guitar, I'll start thinking of words that could go along with that particular melody. If I catch a chord progression that I think is really, really tight, I'll actually, words will actually start coming, and then I can just write a song that way. So it really all applies when you're actually writing your own material. I kind of think that music is definitely God inspired, and so when it starts to come, I kind of like you said, nurture that. I kind of nurture that feeling. It's like, okay, just let it happen. Just make sure that you have your pen and paper when it does happen.
I agree. Yeah. And actually, from that story that you told me, I've experienced that myself with my own music. And I've heard a lot of other singer-songwriters who say that they have gotten several inspirations while driving. That always seems, because when you're driving, your mind is kind of wandering, and it gets you into that
Absolutely
creative space that you need to get to let the creative juices sort of flow. You've got to get rid of all of the sort of garbage, like, oh, I got this bill to pay today. Oh, I don't feel good. You got to get rid of all of that out of your brain first. And then the creativity is allowed to sort of come through you. And I've heard so many people say that it comes to them when they're driving. And one of the tricks that I heard was, because like you said, you got to pull over and find a pen and paper. A lot of people that I've heard will simply call their home phone and leave a voicemail to themselves of the melody, so when they get home, it'll be there. I've heard people actually do that. So anyways, well, listen, I think we're about at the end of our interview here. Can you give people your website information so that they can come and take a look at you and listen to your music? Certainly.
www.gregwhitejr.com. Greg White, like the color, jr.com. You can also find me on Twitter at Greg White Jr. and Facebook is / Greg White Jr. Music. You can also find me on iTunes. You can find Long Road and That Tree on iTunes, Spotify, and various other online distributors.
Okay, super. All right, Greg. Well, listen, thank you so much for being a part of the show. I really enjoyed your music.
Yeah, this was a great experience for me, for sure. Thanks a lot, Doug. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, well, that's about all the time we've got for this show. My special thanks to Greg White for a super job and fabulous music. Good luck to Greg. Also, thank you very much to Periscope Girl for coming up. The water must be getting colder this time of year. She might want to just stay down. And, of course, to my light and fluffy co-host, Cindy Diadamo. This is Douglas Coleman saying goodbye.
To the mile, you've got to run, not walk. To give us a